as you can see by my sidekick here, I'm doing my show right before Halloween, which is the coming Friday. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays ever. I remember when I was a child, and yes, I was a child once upon a time, a brat, but a child nonetheless. When I was a child and Halloween was coming, we all got excited. We couldn't wait to see how much candy we would get, what kind of candy we would get, whose houses we could stop at, who would invite us in at that time for hot cocoa. Yes, they did, because it was a safer, kinder, gentler, better country when I was growing up. And I want to remind you of that. Even our wonderful Halloween here, as you see my beautiful witch. And by the way, when she lights up with her broom and it flies, it's a sight to behold. I actually copy her many times. If you look up in the sky on Halloween evening, you may see me. But now to seriousness. Even Halloween is under attack at the moment. Even Halloween, another tradition of, yes, America. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Columbus Day. Pick a holiday that you grew up with. Pick any. I don't care what it is. It's under attack. It's under attack just as families are under attack. Just as men, I mean real men, just as men are under attack. It's under attack as our country is under attack. And our country is under attack. In the past 6 years, yes, count them, 6. In the past 6 years, we have watched our beloved, magnificent America the Beautiful do this. It has consistently descended every single year until now. Most of the people in the country wonder every day when they get up what new catastrophe will abound. And the reason you feel that way, because I feel that way too, and the reason you feel that way is because of what we have in our White House. In our White House, we have a non-wanting America to be a successful country, not president. I know a lot of you find this difficult to believe, but Barack Hussein Obama, whose name really is very Sotoro, and I know millions of you don't even know that. That's because your mainstream media, including your beloved NPR, Land of Sesame Street, you should definitely get rid of Sesame Street. Talk about multiculturalism shoved down your throat. I know you love Big Bird, but when Big Bird started saying hola, you should have said see ya. Just to make that clear. We are under attack as far as our language is concerned. We are under attack as far as our traditions are concerned. And here's where the biggest attack comes, our money. The United States of America and its citizens, you, produce more revenue for their government every year. Willingly, you give it to them every year than any other country that has ever existed on planet Earth. For the amount of money that you give to your government, remember it's your money going to your government. So obviously, if you're a sentient, thinking human being, such as I am, that money should be returning to you, of course. But it doesn't. Your money that you send to your government, who is supposed to be looking out for you, is being sent all around the world by the billions of dollars. And the purpose for sending all of your money around the globe is to bring up the rest of the world and to bring America down so that we're all on the same level. In other words, below sea level. That is where the creature in our White House is trying to take us. And he's doing a pretty good job because nobody wants to say anything to him. They don't even want to say, as my witch friend would say, boo. We need to take serious action. On top of everything else, I'm exhorting you. There is an excellent word for you. Exhorting, E-X-H-O-R-T-I-N-G. Yes, I can spell, I can read, I can add, I can write. I can do all of those things that are rapidly becoming a disappearing species in America because your school system is being set to produce morons. That's the truth. If the children of today in 4th grade, anybody, any of them, I don't care who they are, white, black, brown, yellow, green, or purple, whatever they are, if they had to take the tests in school that I had to take, and you could only take them once, and if you didn't take it, you failed it, if they had to take the same test that I had to take, I guarantee you today, no one would pass. No one. That is how far down the line we have come on our scholastic educational requirements. We have diluted and dumbed down the greatest educational system the world has ever seen in order to turn the citizens of the United States of America into walking drones, and you're about there. Let's give you a good example, a prime time example. In New York, you have Mayor de Blasio. My God, I want to throw up when I say his name as well. You have Mayor de Blasio, who is an avowed communist, who got elected mayor of New York, which was once upon a time in America our greatest city. No longer. No longer. It's turning into a cesspool of filth, just like Washington, D.C. is. Anybody go to Washington, D.C. lately? You won't like what you see. Garbage isn't picked up regularly, the streets are disgusting and filthy, and it's very, very, very unsafe. Remember, your very same congressional members who want to take away your guns, your Second Amendment, your First Amendment, and every other amendment they can get their filthy hands on, those people have 24-hour, round-the-clock, armed guards. They're not going to give them up, and they want you to give up your protection, because once you do that, you have no control whatsoever about your fate. None. So keep that in mind this November. It's coming up to being voting time. Going back to New York and how New York got stuck with Mayor de Blasio, and believe me, they got stuck. Only 17% of the population that can vote in New York showed up. So if only 17% of the people that can vote in New York showed up, you got what you deserved. You got an absolute lunatic communist. He's all yours, and you're welcome to him. Because only 17% of the people actually got off their butts that day and went to vote. And now you're hearing lamentations and gnashing of teeth and wailing, we're going back to David Dinkins' day. Nothing could be worse than David Dinkins' day. I happen to know because I lived in New York during David Dinkins' day. It was hell on earth. You couldn't drive through the city without some nightmare squeegee man, a 6'2" black guy, accosting you if you came to a red light. Actually coming over, slamming his big fist onto your car window and starting to shove a dirty rag all over it. And if you dared to, I used to just drive right through them. I did. I drove right through them, and if they got in the way, well, I could just say I missed the right pedal. And I would have. If you dared to say, I don't want my windows washed, well, then they broke the window. Yeah. You're going back to David Dinkins' day when nobody wanted to be in the city on the weekends, when the weekends were lonely and empty in New York City because everybody who could get out, got out. And now you're going back to policies with your good old communist de Blasio that say we don't stop and frisk even if we know they're dangerous. We're not going to do that anymore. Whoa, watch those murder rates rise by next year. You'll be right up there with Chicago and Washington, D.C. and Oakland, California. You'll be right there. So you have a chance to change this. Get off your butt. Because as many times as I try to tell all of you, you don't get it for some reason. You pay them. They work for you. You have the power. Exercise it. These people that are ruining our country, get rid of them. All of them. Every last one of them. And I mean it. You can do it. And if you don't do it, well, then you deserve to live like China. And that's where we'll be. Getting ready to go to my first break.
Hi there, I'm Annie from Addictions Clothing. Welcome to my store. I have been in business many years. I have an eclectic variety of clothing for all sizes, all ages. We are moderately priced and we're currently in our annual sale. We would hope that you come and find lots of goodies because you won't be able to beat our prices. They're unbelievable. And Our hours are from 10 to 4, Tuesday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. And this is Nicholas. He works here on Wednesdays. He has good times with the customers, and he entertains the customers as well.
Hi, welcome to Muscle Beach, located at 501 East Atlantic Avenue, Delray Beach. We'd like you to join us for some of the finest, hand-picked, shipped daily Prince Edward Island mussels, along with the freshest seafood Delray has to offer.
Welcome back to the Holly Meredith Show, and as I was discussing in my last segment, I want to remind you to celebrate Halloween. Think of me when you're out there. Look up in the sky. I'll be there. Just celebrate Halloween, one of our traditions that we've had forever, which is, by the way, under attack by your liberal progressive nut jobs who don't want you to have Halloween. It might offend, I don't know, could it offend somebody who wasn't a witch? I don't know. These people are crazy. There is nothing wrong with Halloween. There is nothing wrong with Thanksgiving. There is nothing wrong with Christmas. And there's nothing wrong with Christopher Columbus. On another note, and a somewhat sad note, well, before I get there, this weekend is the Breeders' Cup. I happen to love horse racing with a passion. I am a California Chrome fan. I go to sleep every night in my California Chromey t-shirt, and I will sleep in that California Chromey t-shirt, and it won't get washed until next Saturday when he wins again, because he's going to win. I'm putting it all in on California Chrome. And those of you who know betting, you can have your own choice. You might like Bayern, you might like Shared Belief. There are pretty good long shots in there as well. But next Saturday will be a nadir of racing in America. $1 million races, almost every single one. You simply can't beat it. And now to a sad note. A man named Nathan Cirillo, you may or may not have heard about, a Canadian, and a terrific guy from all accounts, who had a post which was mainly just for you to look at him. He would wear his Scottish kilt, he was Scotch, he would wear his Scottish kilt and stand in front of the unknown soldiers' tomb in Canada. They also have unknown soldiers. He was not armed. It was just a post that he had. He had no chance against somebody who was armed, and he certainly didn't expect some freaking Muslim to hop out of the bushes and shoot him, which is exactly what happened to him. Poor Nathan Cirillo, minding his own business at work, dressed in his beautiful Scottish kilt, got blown away by a lunatic Muslim. And by the way, in the parliament there, parliament was in session, and the lunatic was trying to get to parliament and kill a few other people. There was an armed man there who shot him and didn't even blink. He just came right out and shot him dead. Had Nathan Cirillo had a gun, he could have done his own shooting and he'd still be alive today. But because of the crazy people all over the world who want to punish gun holders but won't punish the Muslims, if one Muslim does something like this, well, are you going to ban all Muslims? No, you're not. You certainly are not. But if one person shoots somebody, then you want to ban all guns. We get your logic and we don't agree with it. Going back to Nathan Cirillo, this poor guy, minding his own business today, has a 6-year-old son without a father, has 2 dogs he was crazy about that will probably not have a home anymore, has a heartbroken mother who now has to go through the rest of her life without her son, all because of a fruitcake who had already been profiled. By the way, he was already being watched. He'd already had his passport taken away, which is what we should be doing here too. We need profiling. I know you're all sitting out there going, oh, I can't do profiling. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you should. And yes, you better. And on another note, on top of poor Nathan Cirillo and why Muslims don't get banned, even though they're out there killing people every single day in every single way, on another note, We have, at this point in time, the most racially divided country that we have ever had since the Civil War. We have Democrats, I call them Democrats, other people call them worse things, but I call them just what they are, demons. We have a group of people running for office. I'll name a couple for you. Michelle Nunn is one of them. Kay Hagan is another. We have people running for office who are absolutely, positively trying to cause a race war. Trying to cause a race war. Going out of their way to inflame people. Showing pictures of people being hung. Showing pictures of blacks being hung. Showing pictures that say, oh, if you don't elect me, you're going to have another Ferguson. And by the way, need I remind you, you don't even have the grand jury findings on that yet. You don't even have them yet. You have nothing yet. And yet, you have people in Ferguson, the black people in Ferguson, I would say the agitators in Ferguson. You have those people out destroying property, blocking traffic, going out on the main drags and getting in front of everybody. One of these days, somebody's going to run over them. Oh well. You have this going on all over your country, and yet nothing is said about it on your mainstream controlled by your federal government media. Because now they have become one and the same. When you understand that everything you get from AP, from NPR, from CNN, oh yes, by the way, the lovely Carol Costello from CNN actually had a show in which she came on and said, I have to let you hear this video. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't stop. You'll thank me later, she said. You'll thank me later. And then they played a video of Bristol Palin, Sarah Palin's daughter, when she was being attacked and being dragged down the street with her 5-year-old son there. And they thought that was hilariously funny. Carol Costello couldn't stop laughing, and her final remark was, isn't this the best video you've ever heard? You'll thank me for it later. This is true. This is CNN today. So you listen to your news, you never hear the news. You never hear what's really going on. You never hear anything of importance. You're not even hearing about the elections. And you know why you're not hearing about the elections? Because Obama's approval ratings are about 8%. The 8% of the people that get free stuff. Those are the only people that can stand this abomination. So you're never going to hear a word about it from your media. They don't want you to know that, and they don't want you to vote. So they don't talk about it. They ignore it like it's not happening. Oh, midterm elections unimportant. Wrong, 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 wrong. If you do what I suggested at the very beginning and get up and go and vote and get rid of these atrocities who are destroying the country, I believe you're going to have a wave election. The Republicans are going to knock everybody right out of the place where they should. And then finally, if they get back where they should never have gone from, if they do actually get back to the holding the Senate, then hold this sucker's feet to the fire. Bring him out there and make him explain every treasonous act he has committed in the last 6 years. And he has done a lot. And in case you didn't know, because your mainstream media isn't telling you, the reason Eric Holder is resigning is because the Fast and Furious documents are now being produced. And Obama has claimed executive privilege, even between emails between Eric Holder and his wife. And the reason he's claiming executive privilege is that you won't know what was really going on with Brian Terry and us selling guns to the Mexicans, which we do. And everybody knows it. And you need to know it too. Holly Meredith, getting ready to go to my second break.
Hello, good morning. I'm Ray Flo. This is my storage, Lake Worth Storage. We've been here, I guess, about 8 years. It's been great. Love Florida, love the storage business. I was meant for this business. Come with me, we'll go inside. And here's the fantastic staff. Mr. Josh runs it. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
And the quiet one. Look here, Marge. Look this way. Look this way. There you go. All right. So, well, there is a lot to run in the storage. There is no silver bullet to make it successful. We've been very successful. So, you got to have a few things, you know. You got to have, of course, the price has got to be right. You got to have a nice staff, congenial people. We have that. Place has to be clean. We have that. And we have to treat people with dignity and very nicely, and we do that. So we've got, the price, the staff. We've been here a long time. We've got a good record. Above all, though, it really should be secure. And we have very little problems with that here. We're very secure. We've got 14 cameras there and some more here. So, yeah, we're set for the public. We're set up. Excellent.
Hi, I'm Maria of My Clean Home Services. Been in business for 5 years now. I specialize in residential and I also do commercial. If you need any references, I can provide that for you upon request. You can give me a call at 954-520-4282 if you have any questions. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Show. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but it's very hard to be anything but. We have a president, if you can say that about him. You know how I feel. I don't believe he's legal. I don't believe he was born in this country. I don't believe he should be sitting in the White House. I don't believe we'll have not ever look back on this and wonder what happened to us. Where did our brains go when we elected this creature? But it's still there. He refuses to put a travel ban on the countries in Africa that have all the cases of Ebola. As of yesterday, I have discovered that somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 people fly into our country from countries in Africa that are affected by Ebola. 3,000 and 10,000. He has finally said that they can only fly into 5 airports. That's not a big deal because they were only flying into 5 major airports anyway. Also, the states of New York and New Jersey, where a doctor who was very proficient in protecting himself came back and was infected with Ebola. So obviously, even if you know what to do not to get it, you can get it. So we obviously don't know all the ways to get it, do we? New Jersey and New York have instituted their own quarantine, meaning anybody who flies in from those countries has to stay in quarantine for 21 days. The only thing they haven't done is make it enforced quarantine. When I was growing up, polio and tuberculosis were very rampant, and people who had it were not allowed out of their house. A very large red X was painted on the door, and people patrolled around the building to make sure that nobody came out of the building, which is what we should be doing. This self-quarantine, self-enforcement obviously doesn't work. Nancy Snyderman went and got soup. She was supposed to be self-regulating. This doctor went out and went bowling and went on the subway, went out to restaurants, went everywhere actually, went jogging. He was all over the city. The problem we have again is we're not actually certain of exactly how this virus goes from one person to another. So better to err on the side of safety, don't you think? It would be very easy for President Obama to declare a moratorium on flights out of these affected countries for a minimum of 3 to 5 months. A lot of other countries are doing that already, including countries in Africa who have banned all flights in and out of those affected countries and did it a couple of months ago because they understand until it's contained and controlled in the infected countries, the chances of it coming out and going everywhere are large. So you have to treat it the same way we treated polio and tuberculosis and should have treated AIDS. If the people who had AIDS had been quarantined in the mid-80s, AIDS would no longer be a disease. It would be gone. But we didn't do that. No, it wasn't politically correct. We didn't do that. So the people who usually spread it were allowed to continue spreading it because they don't like using condoms. So now you find us in another situation of political correctness, which is absurd. You have people flying into this country who are supposed to tell you whether or not they had any contact with anybody who was sick. Obviously, they're not going to tell you that. If they tell you that, A, they realize they may not be allowed to come into the country. B, if they get sick, maybe somebody with a brain will say, we're not going to take care of you and ship them back to where they came from, which is what I would do. The country has to insist, has to demand, has to force, if necessary, the President of the United States to put a ban on all incoming flights from the infected countries. That means any kind of work visa or permit as well, on any of these people coming into this country for the next 6 months. By that time, with all the money and resources we're pouring into these countries, by that time, there will be something there that will be controlled, so that then you can feel confident that if people leave that country, they are not going to bring the disease here. It is important that we do this. I'm getting ready to close my show. I hope I gave you enough information today for you to be an educated voter. It is imperative. It is important. Millions of people have died to help you have the right to vote all around the world for more than 238 years. We have been fighting to have this privilege. Treat it as what it is. It's something that if you lose it, you'll never get it back. Go and vote.